Hello, welcome to Rebel Base, IGN's weekly Star Wars show.
Okay, so it's 10 months or so until The Force Awakens comes out in theaters.
Yeah.
And already there's so many rumors, leaks, hearsay circulating on the internet.
It's like
on
every day something
Yeah,
new
so
happens,
much stuff. Like, we've seen pictures of the X-Wings way back last year even when they were filming. And rumors have got to the point where even J.J. Abrams this week has had to address it. So what's he said, Gav?
He says, there are a ton of rumors, some true, some false, but I'm grateful for everyone who would want to read a spoiler because it means that they care. They want to go see the movie. And I sort of do agree with that, but we thought we'd ask the question this week, are leaks and rumors spoiling Star Wars? What do you think?
Well, I think it's interesting, that quote from Abrams, because he also goes on to say, as a fan.
Yeah.
And I think he understands the mentality of a fan.
Oh, definitely,
if you he grew up being a Star Wars fan. He said that when he was doing press for Star Trek. So he understands if you're super into something, you want more of it. Hence they're making the movie. But the problem about being really into something is you want everything as soon as possible,
Exactly,
I think.
yeah.
There are some people who go complete blackout on trailers and movies. I do not have the discipline or the self-control.
I do sometimes.
Like my eating.
Yeah, I do sometimes, but it's really hard being in this job when you have to do like rewind theatre where you literally have to
this very show.
Exactly.
Like, we have to keep on a track of all the rumours and speculation and stuff. But there's a very fine line between, there was a big NeoGAF leak, supposedly from a Lucasfilm insider towards the end of last year, I think.
Yeah.
And I got a link to it on Reddit from a friend who's a fellow journalist.
Yeah.
And I started reading it, and I was like compelled to read it. I was kind of fascinated, perversely fascinated by it. Oh my God, this is like, is this real? Is this Force Awakens? And then I got to a point where I was like, actually, I need to stop now because I'm going to sit down in that theatre, and if it starts to come true, I then have ruined the movie for myself.
Yeah.
And it might not be true, but obviously Abrams says some are true, some are false. So obviously there's some authentic information out there.
Exactly, yeah. He's always been amazing at controlling how much information gets out about his films and releasing. Like Cloverfield was the best thing for me when they were so controlling over like the trailer and the images and stuff that went out. And he's always been really, really good at that. And I think it doesn't really lend itself to Star Wars because
so big.
Exactly, it's so massive. It's almost beyond your control.
Yeah,
even
Cloverfield, easy to have that level of control.
Yeah.
And he's also worked on secretive projects in the past. Obviously, Lost. It was an entire 7-year odd mystery. So where secrecy, everyone wanted to kind of unstitch it and find out what was going on and uncover it. Star Wars, very difficult to do. So let's take it back. So let's go back to like last year when some leaked pictures were hit the internet of like the X-Wing from above and pictures of the Millennium Falcon. Are you okay with that? Or does that kind of not cross a line whereas a bit of plot info does?
That's fine because you're just seeing a model and you don't, you can sort of speculate yourself about what it's going to be used for. When it's like just out and out, there's a big thing this week which was like a major character is definitely going to die, which has been leaked from an extra on the set apparently, a trusted extra. I think one of the websites said. And I think,
trusted extra, he brings his own lunch.
Yeah, a trusted extra who leaks loads of stuff.
Who's trusting him? The press.
But I think that is different because I don't want to know that. And in fairness, we've talked about it. We've talked about how, but we've said ages ago that someone is definitely going to die at the end of episode 7. But
I think it makes sense if you're bringing back those old characters. New Hope kind of establishes that with Ben dying.
Exactly. But I think there's a different level then when you have just an extra going, oh yeah, I've seen so-and-so die. So, that's different. You don't want that, I think. And it just wrecks it for everyone because then you have your own preconceptions of what that actually means, and you're going in. You're not going in dry. You're going in thinking, oh well, if so and so dies, that this means this, and that's why I don't like it. And you don't know why that person's dying, if that person is dying at all. Oddly though, one thing that I am cool with is casting rumours and things like that. Like this week, it was rumoured that Taron Egerton is going to be playing Han Solo in one of the spin-offs. Now, we're going to talk about what we think about, a Han Solo spin-off later on in the show, but I quite like having those little rumours, like, little tidbits, because you think
I think it invites more creativity than just having something spoiled. When like Gwendolyn Christie is cast, and we've talked about it on the show, you can infer, because people are cast for certain reasons, because they have certain qualities they bring to the role. And then you can extrapolate yourself, and that's kind of fun to do. When it's just black and white, Gwendolyn Christie is playing X character, and they will do X thing. You're like, oh well. I think fan culture is both to blame for this. It's blamed, and we contribute to that. IGN is a pop culture website more and more so. That's why we cover things like MCU and Star Wars. And because we're so into this stuff, this is why it's viable for someone to sell a story like that to another outlet, and then it gets picked up internet-wide, and we kind of pounce on all these little things. But at the same time, it's because we love stuff.
Yes,
and sometimes love things that you love destroy you, Gav.
Do you want to expand a little bit on this Taron Egerton rumour that he is playing Han Solo in a spin-off just about Han Solo, set between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope? That's the big rumour.
So younger than we've ever seen him.
Exactly, yeah. But, I mean, we started talking about it, and actually, the spin-offs for us have always been this idea that they can tackle these, like, weird little stories and go off and do, like, their own thing. And to me, doing a Han Solo film, we're going to see Han Solo in Force Awakens. Like, I don't need to see a younger version of him, I don't think.
So I guess the USP with this would be, like, a younger Han Solo before he's tied down.
Yeah.
And he's on his exploits and stuff. But I just feel like we have the most iconic interpretation of Han Solo in that era, or not long after, what this might be. And again, this is hearsay speculation.
Exactly,
But we're just talking about what we want these spin-off movies maybe to be, and what gaps we want them to fill in. I just feel like we have that Han Solo.
Yeah.
That's kind of indelible in everyone's memories.
Exactly.
And obviously, if they go back in time, there's some recasting. But I feel it's so difficult to do with such an iconic character, especially when you're going to have him in the new movie. So while we're huge fans of that Han Solo character, you know, one of the great characters of all time, you know, regardless of just in Star Wars, I just don't feel there's much else to do with that character that age.
Yeah, I don't know.
Especially maybe not on film anyway.
Yeah. My idea of always being with the spin-offs, like, they can really explore other parts of the galaxy, the other parts of the Star Wars universe as well, that we haven't seen, or we've seen a little tiny bit of, and they can expand on a little bit.
So the other dominant rumour for the spin-off movies, again, nothing's really confirmed. There's lots of speculation around those movies, and I think we'll find out a lot very, very soon about them. One of the major rumours is one is going to be a Boba Fett movie set before New Hope.
Yeah.
So maybe that tallies with the idea of this being before New Hope. That's the gap they want to fill in on the screen.
Yeah.
Why are you okay with that concept? Why Boba Fett? Again, another iconic character, and a bunch of the bounty hunters. I feel like we're quite warm to that idea. Is it literally because...
I think it's because on film, we've barely seen Boba Fett. Whereas, like, you know, Boba Fett is one of the most popular characters in Star Wars, like, history and Star Wars lore. But in film, he's never really had that sort of chance to shine. And, you know, because he's such a badass in all other walks of, like, comics, books, video games. He's such a badass in those. And we never get to see that on film, whereas finally we'll actually have a film that's just him.
I think that's it's true. It's kind of wish fulfillment.
Yeah, definitely.
For years you've inferred and imagined and read in other media about the awesome things Boba's done. To see that, I think that kind of makes sense.
Definitely,
whereas we've seen Han Solo do awesome stuff.
Yeah.
I feel it's so hard, like more than almost any other character, to unstitch Harrison Ford from Han Solo.
Yeah.
Like, they are just one and the same for me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of those really difficult roles to recast. Like, I wouldn't want to be Taron. Again, rumour, preface it with that. But I wouldn't want to be Taron Egerton getting that role. Like, your second big movie role. He's amazing in Kingsman. He's so good. But that is a poison chalice, I think.
It's hard because Harrison Ford, you know, he's been these iconic characters. Like, you know, the news or the other rumours that Chris Pratt is going to be playing him in Indiana Jones. As much as I am properly in love with Chris Pratt, I'm wearing a Mouse Rat t-shirt underneath this. As much as I love him, I don't want to see him playing Indiana Jones. Like, Indiana Jones is Harrison Ford. That's it. I don't need anything else.
To be fair, at the end, I don't want Harrison Ford to be playing Indiana Jones anymore.
No, not me.
Anyway.
Yeah. But we started chatting about it and thought, you know, we came up with a couple of ideas what we thought the spin-off things would be. And, like, because they can do anything. They could literally do anything they wanted to do.
Yeah.
So could they, Daniel, do a Wicket movie? Now, these are this little bit of...
For a minute, they said Wicked.
Yeah,
it's like, well, a musical.
Wicked movie.
Right, Wicket.
Wicket, yeah.
Obviously one of the most popular characters of all time.
Yeah.
But although I loved Wicket when I was a kid.
Yeah, and me. He's my little graphic. He's my little logo when my graphic comes out.
So, obviously played by Warwick Davis when he was a child. Give me your pitch for a Wicket movie.
So, for me, it'll be almost like WALL-E. So, like, barely any dialogue for like 40 minutes. And it's just sort of Wicket going around, doing different things with his family and things. But also, it'd be really cool to see that the Ewoks are actually a much bigger influence on the Star Wars universe and everything that's happened in Star Wars than we actually know. So you'll see famous scenes from A New Hope and things, and it's actually them in the background fixing things or helping Luke and Leia.
So they're always in the background.
Without them even knowing.
Quite small.
Exactly.
Imagine if they were just always out of frame.
Yeah.
You couldn't see them.
No, I don't think Luke. No.
No.
Luke and Leia.
No. That's what it is now.
I've taken your idea and I've expanded upon it.
Well, you say expand, mate, better. And you know what? Warwick Davis would be bang up for it.
What about, have you got any other ideas? Well, I mean, this gives you a little bit of an intro. And as we pointed out, they could all be penises. Little furry one.
Moving on.
Little ball one.
Moving on. My idea would be Max Rebo. So Max Rebo, obviously one of the most famous musicians in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
So I'm on about a kind of a music biopic of Max Rebo, and kind of pitch it to you, sort of like tone, inside Llewellyn Davis. You know, him just like on like a space bus, you know, tapping, you know, playing some stuff, and then he gets inspired, goes on this meteoric rise to fame. Yeah. He gets married, a la Walk the Line. Yeah. Not a healthy relationship. No. At all.
Well, I thought actually, because my favourite, I love the Cantina Band. Yeah. I think they're a better band, they're a better musical style, better frontman, and I think they're just a more interesting band. So I thought maybe that they could do like a little documentary, almost like This Is Spinal Tap, about them. And then maybe we could link your idea and my idea, and they could be like a battle of the bands type thing.
Like Glee?
Yeah, so it's basically like, you know how like you've had like, you know, Captain America and then Thor, and then they come together in the Avengers. We'll have all the different bands from the Star Wars universe, and they'll come together in a big Avengers battle of the bands.
Like School of Rock.
That's a good idea.
We pitched School of Rock Star Wars. Right.
That'd be good.
Jesus.
I also love the idea. I mean, I'm in love with Star Wars Rebels. I think it's one of, like, it's so good. I can't believe how good it is.
You've been binge watching it recently.
Yeah, exactly, for an animated show. And the Inquisitor, who's one of the main bad guys in the series, is like one of the best bad guys in Star Wars history, I think, honestly. And I think he should definitely have his own film. So, like, without spoiling too much, he's trained by Darth Vader, and his job is basically going around and converting or killing Force-sensitive kids. So he goes around and finds them by different means, and then either converts them to the dark side, and if they won't convert, he kills them.
Yeah, that's cool.
He spent years sort of training under Darth Vader, and also sort of studying like at the Jedi Temple and things to find out where all these Jedis are. And I think that period where he's being trained by Darth Vader, because I'd love to see Darth Vader again in a movie, but sort of training people, do you know what I mean? Like where he's not the main guy. Also,
for obvious reasons, it's easy to do Darth Vader again.
Yeah,
like
definitely,
the voice and the physicality could definitely do that. Also, I think that's a really interesting one they could do, especially with rumours around Force Awakens. You know, the very name, The Force Awakens, Force-sensitive kids. We've talked about that a lot on the show.
Yeah, we do love Force-sensitive kids.
So I've got one last spin-off.
Okay.
And I'm going to take it away from the spin-off movies. Okay. Because for years and years we talked about a Star Wars TV show that never quite materialised, like a live-action TV show. And I was thinking about this as a spin-off movie. I thought, it worked so well as a TV show. TV show just called Tatooine.
Okay.
Because I think it's such an interesting planet. It's obviously where the Star Wars saga like starts out from, spiritually and literally. And so obviously got Mos Eisley. I think it's just a fascinating set of characters on that planet. You know, Mos Eisley famously described as a wretched hive of scum and villainy. Yeah. And to delve into the politics, the way that the Hutt kind of runs that planet, it's kind of like The Wire meets The Sopranos.
Like Deadwood.
But also Deadwood with a kind of Western vibe. You've got the Jawas, Tusken Raiders, you've got all these kind of traders and bounty hunters coming through there. I think it is, like Deadwood, you know, these people coming in week by week. I think you could build up a really fascinating show, and occasionally you could imply that it's at the time of certain key events. So you can get like an episode finale, you realise suddenly the camera pulls back and they're loading up Jabba's sand palace. Yeah. And it's Jedi is what happens in between seasons.
That would be really cool, but I mean, obviously it has to do it well. I mean,
can't do it on TV.
You can do it on. I think you can do it on TV, but like Gotham. Gotham sort of, that was the kind of idea they was going to do like that, but they do it so heavy-handedly.
But I can definitely imagine that being like a Netflix TV show. You know, and Disney via Marvel have signed a deal with Netflix. Yeah. And I feel like Netflix are, HBO's done that over the last 10 years, 15 years. Yeah. Redefined what can be expected from a TV show. Yeah. Moving it closer to film. I think Netflix have even gone beyond that with House of Cards. Yeah. They're really blurring the lines between what is a TV show and what's a movie in terms of production value. Yeah. So I can imagine like Tatooine or Mos Eisley.
I'd watch that.
Be a 13-episode Netflix series.
So those are the characters that we want to see in the Star Wars spin-offs, but who do you want to see? Let us know, rebelbase@igen.com, and we'll probably make an entire episode about it at some point.
Yeah, and until next week, for all your Max Rebo needs, stay right here on IGN.